Well, hello, everybody. I am glad you're here. This is another of the adventures that Stephen and I have been on with Walkabout. We thought about what this topic would be and came up with the idea a few weeks ago that what we should do is get input from a lot of people on what they think are the best things that people in gardening can do to be easy on the environment. And it was a great way to do it, but it was also a bit of a circus, organizing things from so many different places. So it will be interesting to see what you have to say because I'm hoping you'll comment and add to it. Hello, Mr. Giraffe. So are there any questions in the group that's here? I've got a few lined up that had come in and to email and we've been um, corresponding with. But if you've got questions and you are here right now, raise your hand or chat them so that we can talk about them. I'm by myself today, just Janet today. Stephen and our grandson Axel are on the train on their way to Toronto to go to the Hockey Hall of Fame, a treasured guy's occupation. I've been to the Hockey Hall of Fame too, but I mean, for Stephen to go with just his son a while back and now to go with just his grandson is pretty special. But Sonia is here with us. So if you've got any questions, now is the time to chat or raise your hand and we'll deal with those. Otherwise, you can hear what I've been working with other people. I sometimes wish that I could look out the window and see mountains.
Mhm.
And then I realize that it's not easy to get around in the mountains.
And you lose the sun so much faster in the mountains than you do in other places. I was
Yeah.
in I
Yeah.
was in New York recently, right in Manhattan, and I always forget that it seems like it's still daylight, but direct sun is a much more precious thing.
Yeah, and this time of year, you can feel it when there's no direct sun. And, you can feel those extra degrees of heat on your back when the sun comes out. It feels so good.
Looks like Gregory has a hand. Gregory, you want to go ahead?
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Greg.
Hi. I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to verify. A friend of ours had a weeping cherry tree that, over the course of literally one season, just died, and I'm not sure if they possibly pruned it with some infected pools or whatever, or whether or not it was something soil borne. But this tree that they loved died. And now they want to put another one back in. And I'm hesitant to tell them. They're asking me what I think. I'm not sure if putting another cherry tree in there is a good idea because it's, to me, likely that there's something soil borne that probably killed it.
It's
Would an would
there.
an would a an apple would an apple tree be less likely to, or would it be more likely to survive if it
Things
is
that
soil borne?
things that kill plants really quickly are not necessarily or not often diseases. There's verticillium wilt when it gets into the soil can kill something, but usually it works on part of the plant and usually has specific symptoms. Most of the time when something gradually gives up the ghost, there's more to go on than what you're saying. You're saying it just all
Mm-hmm.
at once died. There are several things that happen. A gas leak can make that happen. A Running into a girdle can make that happen, and then usually the plant leaves out, then wilts and drops all the leaves. Um, or in the middle of July, after having leafed out, it then collapses. Um, Girdling can make it happen real quickly, but diseases don't immediately kill plants. It just doesn't
Okay.
work that way. So I don't think you have to worry too much about putting another cherry in, but you might have to worry about putting anything back in there if it was a gas leak or if it was planted with a girdle that it eventually ran into. So you need to find out a little bit more about what goes in with it.
Well,
Crab
I know where it was planted, and it's not likely a gas leak or anything like that. Um, so
What about girdling?
I'm liking the girdling idea. They pulled it out. They've already taken it out. but I like the girdling idea because I think this is it, it just seems more likely. But I
Yeah.
appreciate the idea that it's to go that quickly. It's not likely a disease, so I'm just going to tell them to put a new one in if they want.
Sure, but the crab apple's in the same family as cherry, so if it was
Yeah,
a disease, then you'd still be in that same family, and there's the
yeah.
likelihood of passing it across. Good
All right.
question, though. Good question. I just hate that when that happens. It happened to one of our very first planted trees when Steve and I were first married. Mountain ash, we were so pleased with it. It leafed out so wonderfully and then just folded and died. And I had
Mhm.
left a string that was around the burlap. I'd left the string on the trunk of the tree, and I mean, just that clunk, it was gone.
Yeah.
Life in the
All right.
fast.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks.
welcome. Anyone else has any questions? Because they've been coming in. Well, it seems to have been a bad year for lawns, at least lawns that are not highly maintained. A lot of dieback. This is something that Gloria sent me, and she wonders if it might be crane fly. Crane fly is one of those grub-like. It's not a grub technically that it gets into lawns in England. I've seen it in English books, but I haven't seen it here. And I don't know what this could be, but when the grass is completely gone like that, there is a good chance that that area was not actually your same species of grass as the remaining grass, that those were an annual grass, like annual bluegrass that had seeded itself into that area and died back over the winter as annual bluegrass does and didn't get a good period of time to resprout and refill the area. But if you've got bad patches in your lawn, you need to take a good look at what might be in the areas that are still green around the edges. If it was grubs or some kind of insect that ate the roots, um, then A, the grass that was dead should just come out without roots on it, and B, the insects would have migrated to the edges here, and you would find a large number of them. It takes a lot of insects to literally kill lawn. Grubs, for instance, it'll take 9 to 12 per square foot to really do a lot of damage if the grass isn't uh, irrigated at all.
We've got a hand up from Nancy.
Okay, Nancy, go for it.
So this past person just reminded me of the question I had. The only bleeding hearts I had come up this year are the typical, the old fashioned ones. I had a gold heart and I had some white colors, and none of them came up, and they're not all in the same location. Any
Uh,
thoughts?
I don't have any thoughts there. They are the same species, and the gold heart has seemed to be pretty vigorous to me. And in our yard, we have the white and the red pink, and they're all over the place in this yard. They're all coming up. So I haven't seen that happen. Not a lot of things eat Dicentra, eat the bleeding heart family. So I doubt that the crown got eaten over the winter. It's possible too that it's slow. We have a patch in the backyard of I'm switching to a different species, but as an example, we have a patch of bloodroot. I just divided it and split it up last year, and I was admiring it and went, wait, there's only two clumps here. I made at least six clumps of it. The two clumps are done blooming, and the others have just come up. So it could be that there's just a difference in temperature in the one place than the other, and the plant hasn't responded yet. The things that are coming up fast now that it's late. I mean, this is a late spring. So
There's no even indicate. There's not even an indication that there's a crown there anymore. It's completely gone.
did
And
you
like
did
I
you
said, it's several different locations.
you dug and found
Yep.
a crown?
There's nothing there. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's
the
not
crown's not right at the surface on Bleeding Heart. It's a little bit
oh,
below the surface.
okay.
So
Then
you'd actually have to see if it was there.
yeah.
You
Okay.
know, I've had people dig through Bleeding Heart in the fall, workmen who were trenching wires through and just dug right through Bleeding Hearts. And the pieces of the Bleeding Heart tumbled and put back in December still came up. So they can take a lot of abuse and they might still show up later. Let us know if they do. And if you're looking, scrape the soil where you think they are and see if you can find the buds getting ready to come up. Um, a lot of things are blooming right now. It's one of those crazy late springs for us in Michigan where the red buds are blooming at the same time as the crab apples. Normally, crab apples are Mother's Day plants, and red buds are 2 to 3 weeks before, but they're blooming together. People are sending pictures and saying, "What could this be?" John sent this picture. He said, "What is it?" I couldn't tell because it wasn't a high-res picture when I enlarged it to try to tell if that was a cherry flower, a crabapple flower, um, or whether it might be a calorie pear flower. I couldn't tell. That's why we asked for high res. So I said, "Can you send me the bark or the leaves?" And this is crabapple bark. This could be a crabapple. It could be a calorie pear. It could be uh, a cherry, one of our native cherries. But that bark is definitely a crabapple, and the crabapples are ahead of schedule this year. They're surprising some people. Poor Anne, she dug up, found a place where there was some lily of the valley growing and wanted to get rid of it. And she said, if I leave a piece of the root in there, will you tell me that it's not going to come back? Nah, with lily of the valley, all of those thicker spoke-like roots coming off of the crown, directly off the crown, any piece of one of those left in there is going to generate another new plant. Um, Even if you snap this crown off, if it's got a bit of the stem tissue at the bottom, it'll grow new roots if it's left in the soil. The smaller roots coming off the side of the thicker roots, those aren't going to come back again, but those spoke-like roots, they're all going to come back. Lily of the Valley is a toughie to get rid of. I generally don't plant an area that we've cleared of Lily of the Valley for at least a year to watch for what's going to come up. And Anne also asked about this oakleaf hydrangea. She said, "I don't mind if we lose the bloom, but it's kind of gotten all misshapen, and can I cut it all?" Yeah, you can cut it all the way down. You won't get any bloom on an oakleaf hydrangea this year if you cut it all the way down, but you will get a chance to reshape it. I look at this one though. Does it look to anybody else like it is usual for oakleaf hydrangea to have older stems, thicker, and younger stems. But this looks a little unbalanced to me, and it looks like the younger stems are coming up and dying. See, they're drying out, the drying out going on here. And something happened to this older stem. Either somebody whacked them off at this level, and then it started growing again from there, or they got killed back or bitten back. So there might be something else going on here. And as usual, I would tell people, look at the base and see whether the roots are okay. Because if you whack something back all the way to the ground and it's got other problems, especially root problems, it's not going to come back very strong and you won't be as pleased with it as you like to be.
Can I
And so
jump in on hydrangea talk and ask, would my Pinky Winky be showing signs of life yet? Should my Pinky Winky be showing signs of life yet? I know it's
not
not the
you're later than we are, and ours just budded out last week and then halted. It's
okay.
been colder, so it's possible that yours is still working on it. The
Yeah, because
one
we did have to replace that Pinky Winky. Was it last year or the year before, maybe? So now I'm on alert for that spot.
Yeah. It's something ate it last year, didn't it?
It just never
Never
started.
appeared.
Yep,
Hmm.
yep. Yeah,
No,
I'm thinking about Gregory and his friends apple tree too. They're like, uh-oh, is there something in the spot that is, yeah. Yep.
no, I don't think so. But hydrangeas are munchable plants. A lot of things like to eat them. I've seen them gnawed by voles, rabbits, deer, groundhogs, you name it. Oh, I forgot. Jocelyn, I think it was. Jocelyn asked about this. She said, where should I prune this cherry? It's been there for 2 or 3 years." And I've told Jocelyn, I said, I would not prune that cherry for shape right now. I would try to figure out why its leaders have died back. See the pieces that tried to grow in the middle and used to be the center that would have been the tallest part of the plant and would provide it some shape. And that might be, see at the bottom, it might be strapped tightly to that stake and is girdling itself down there and is killing the top. The only thing I would do would be to cut off. This branch is redundant. It's going in all the same places that this branch is going above it. See, it is this. It's hard to tell from this angle, but it's this branch that's going underneath this branch, and it branches off. I guess I can't keep using the same word, into two directions, it V's off. So you could take that one off, but let it have as much leaf as it can while you're figuring out whether it's girdling itself. I feel like a
Jo-
broken record sometimes with this root problem solution.
Jocelyn is saying in the chat that she'll take a look later today, and thanks.
Okay. We've been after the lily leaf beetle, people have been asking. Yes, they're out. We've reported on them in our free-for-all Fridays the last few weeks. We have far less this year than we had last year, when as soon as we had been killing them as we found them, and as soon as the fritillarias, we have in the lily family, fritillaria is the other plant that they live on, and we have fritillarias, the small ones. As soon as they finished blooming, we cut them off at ground level. We just denied them any more food, and we cleaned up and killed as many as we could find. And this year we've killed, I think, probably about 15 in a week's time, and that's easily a quarter or less of the number that we were finding last year. So it might be a good defense if you don't mind cutting things down. The fritillaria looked just fine this year. They had enough energy making it through the bloom season to be as big or bigger than last year. And someplace along the way, we lost some of the lily leaf beetle. Okay, for those of you just joining us, this is our warm-up session, and we haven't officially started yet. Mute your microphone and check that your camera is off. We ask that so that we can have people participate in question and answer through chat or raise your hand. So the chat is on your Zoom menu somewhere. You can click the chat, and when you chat, when you type something in, type to everyone. Don't type to Janet because Janet can't watch the chat as well as watching what I've got on the screen. And if I do see it and answer, I will forget to dial it to everyone and it'll go just to you. And we'd rather that the chat be shared by people. So chat to everyone. And remember that when you press return, it pops to the top. You might want to still your urge to hit return at the end of what you think is the line. If you'd like to talk, and I'd love it if you'd talk, especially today, Sonia and I are doing can't say it's solo, but Stephen is off on his way to Toronto with our grandson to go visit the Hockey Hall of Fame. So there's not as much voice change, and we really like to hear other people. If you'd like to speak, then go into your reactions menu for the raise your hand control, or maybe it's in your participants menu. But if you hit the raise your hand control, you will pop to the top of the list that Sonia is watching. Sonia is very good at watching the chat and at the participants list. And when we get a bit of a break, we'll say, okay, go ahead, John, turn on your microphone and you can talk. There is a note-taking guide for our presentation today. It's a longie, and it's accompanied by another flyer called Why Mulch. They're at gardenaz.org. If you go to the webinars tab and then audience materials, you'll be able to find that.